Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a book sleeve. Now, I didn't make this one. To be clear, I received this in a book box years ago. I have no idea who actually made it. If I can figure it out, I will link it in the description. But for those who don't know, this is a book sleeve. It exists as a protective sleeve to carry your books around in. I really like the size of this book sleeve. It is pretty big, so it can hold really chunky books. The problem is, this book sleeve is designed to be very outer space, extraterrestrial. It's space. I don't really like space. Space freaks me out a lot. I read books that are set in outer space because I can disassociate myself from it then, but looking at outer space really freaks me out. So this isn't really my vibe. I really like the quality of this book sleeve. It's very simple. It's just a pouch, but it has another layer inside it, and it's got, I think it's some kind of foam. You can sort of see it here. So it's padded, and it's a really good quality book sleeve. It's just not a design that works for me, so I find myself not using it. So I figured, let's make my own, because I've tricked myself into thinking this will be easy, but it is a double layered pouch that's padded, so probably going to be a lot harder than I'm imagining, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna use this one to create my pattern, to know what size to cut my fabric to, because I like the size of this one, and I got to pick my own fabrics because I'm making it myself. I really hope this goes well because I think the fabric that I picked is really freaking cute. For the outside, I picked out this Aristocats fabric. It is a pale pink and it has the 3 kittens on it, and it's just super cute. Is it not adorable? I have a whole meter of this. I don't need a meter, but you had to buy it by the meter. So I will be using this for the outer layer, and then for the inside, I bought this fabric square here, which is, oh god, the glare of my ring lights. It's a silvery, kind of metallic-y, shimmery fabric. I just thought it looked really cute with this, and for the inside, it'll add a little bit of interest. And then the other thing I wanted to show you here is what I bought to do the padding with. I don't know what kind of foam or whatever was used for this, but in my research, googling how to make book sleeves, it seems a lot of people go for a fusible fleece. So I purchased Fusible Fleece. So this stuff is essentially a fleece that you iron on to the back of the fabric before you sew everything together, so that it adds a layer of cushioning. This particular pack is made for quilting. It has easy iron-on application in theory. I've never used anything like this, and I don't think my mum has either, and she's the one that I get all my sewing advice from, so we'll see how this goes. I mean, it's going to be the inside layer, so if it's not adhered 100% to the fabric, it won't be the end of the world because it's going to have fabric sewn to either side of it, but I thought this would be good. So yes, this is going to be a project. This is my project for today. The first thing I'm actually going to do is iron my fabrics, and then I'm going to try and make a pattern using some paper and the pre-existing book sleeve that I have. I'm going to take you with me on this journey. I'm really excited to have a cute book sleeve that I'll actually want to use because I carry my book around everywhere, even just at home, and I'd like to, you know, put it in something. So we're gonna make a book sleeve, and I'm gonna show you how I do it, so if it works, you can make one too. So we're gonna do it together. So I've taped together 2 pieces of paper because I didn't have a big enough piece of paper, and it's time to trace this to make our pattern. So I have a Sharpie, and basically I want to do is trace around it basically, and instead of drawing down this line, I'm going to flip it over. So I'm drawing a rectangle, and I don't know where my ruler is, so I'm going to use this to make it straighter. Now, there's a certain something lacking to the neatness of this, but I am going to cut it out. Oh no, don't come apart. Alright, so now this is my pattern or stencil for making this. So I'm gonna use this to cut out my fabric. So this is my fabric. I did iron it, although I think it's already getting wrinkly again. And I've brought this over because I needed a harder surface for the sake of tracing this out. Don't ask how there's already a hole in it. So what I want to do here is trace around this onto the fabric. I will keep the leftover parts of this fabric. I might end up making something else, who knows. I'm gonna take a fabric pencil and we're just gonna you know, my memories from doing fabric tech in school is telling me I'm supposed to actually pin this to the fabric, but I haven't done that. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it. So now I'm gonna cut this out of the fabric, but I'm not gonna cut along the blue line. The blue line is actually what I'm going to use as my guide when I'm sewing. So I'm gonna wanna leave a seam allowance while I cut this. I have so much leftover fabric here. This is crazy. Okay, so I still need to cut this a little bit smaller. I was very generous with my seam allowance. Okay, so I've cut this piece now. So now I need to do the same thing for the inside. This is my sewing box, by the way. And so now this is cut and this is cut. So now I need to cut the fusible fleece. So I'm gonna be ironing that to this part, I think. So I'm just gonna open this up. Ew, okay, I can immediately tell which side is the fusible side. It's like scratchy. Ew, okay. And I'm just going to roughly cut it to the same size as this piece. I can trim it afterwards, so it's not super 100% important that it's perfect. So now what I need to do for this is iron these together. So this is the grabby side of the fleece. So I'll have that this way, and then I will put down this piece of fabric with the pattern side facing up on top of that, and then I will just iron over it. It's gonna be great. Can I see my lines through it? We're just gonna go iron this, and then I will be back. So I'm back, and full transparency, my first attempt, I burnt it. This completely melted and there is now stuff stuck to the ironing board because of this. I had the iron too hot. I had a lot of this fabric and I had enough of the fusible fleece to cut some more and try again. This was my second attempt and the one that we are going to be using. It's fused together and I can actually still see my lines here, which is great. And then I also have my inner layer. I have to sew all this stuff together. So before I do that, I'm gonna pin this. I'm actually gonna pin these back to front and I'm going to sew 3 sides. I'm gonna leave the top, but I'm gonna sew 3 sides. So I'm just gonna pin this whole thing together, leaving this strip. Okay, now I'm gonna have to sew this, so we're gonna move along to my desk and my sewing machine. This is my sewing machine. She's a mini sewing machine, but she works, she gets the job done, and she even has a little light so I can see what I'm doing. So I'm gonna take my fabric here and I'm going to remove a pin. I have my box here to put them in as I go, and so I'm gonna want to line up my needle with the corner here in my pencil markings because I'm gonna sew across the line that I drew. It's gonna be great. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to back stitch that to reinforce it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're just gonna sew all the way down and then all the way across and then all the way back up this side and then back stitch it again here, leaving this bit open, and then I'll come back. I'll be back once this is all sewn. So I finished sewing this edge, and this edge. This one's open. And I just want to trim down my seam allowance because it's really big right now and it'll just get in my way. Grab my sewing scissors. I'm also going to snip the corners so that when I turn it the right way round, it's not going to be super bulky. We're going to turn this inside out. And it's at this point we realize we never gave ourselves a seam allowance for turning it from this into a real thing, so that's fun. It's gonna be smaller than the one that I already had. I guess I should have seen that coming. So we're going to sew along here and then down here. So I'm just gonna try and do that with the smallest possible seam allowance I can physically manage. I would pin it, but quite frankly I can't be bothered. So I'm just gonna make sure the corners are lined up here to the best of my ability. And we're going to keep going until once again we get to about here. Okay, so now we're gonna turn this inside out, or right side out. Oh, you know what? It's not that far off in size. Now I need to do something about the top. So I'm gonna fold in everything. I don't know how to explain that, so I'm just gonna show you. I'm gonna need my pins for this. I'm also just gonna cut all this fleece to match up with the rest of the fabric. So we're gonna fold this down and fold this down also and pin it so it's like that. And I'm just gonna do that the whole way around. So I pinned it all down and now I'm just gonna sew one big long line across the top there. There's a very convenient little slot here under where the sewing happens on my sewing machine, so I can very easily just put this in. And I'm gonna keep the presser foot lined up with the edge of the top here so that it's all the same gap between the edge of the fabric and the stitch. And we're just gonna get sewing. I'll be back when I finish doing this because it's gonna be a process. So I finished it. It's not quite as big as the other one that I have, but like only just. I don't think it's gonna fit this in it. Hey, it does! Success! Alright, I honestly didn't think that was gonna work. It will definitely fit like a regular paperback in it, no problem. Oh my god, I'm so happy! Okay, this was successful. There were some bumps along the road, but I think this turned out really cute. Yeah, no, that works really well actually. I'm so happy with how this turned out. I'm gonna use this a lot, or at least I'm gonna try to. We made a thing! We made a successful thing! And it's got the double layering, and it's a bit padded with the fusible fleece. It's a little bit ugly here, but we just won't look at that part and then it won't matter. I am so happy with how this turned out. Oh my god. It's a little like lumpy bumpy situation and I kind of want to iron the entire thing to get these creases to sit properly, but this was overall a success. It's really cute. It's definitely my style because it's Disney and it's like kind of soft colors. I'm very happy. I'm sure there are those of you out there who've made these much better. This is what the top ended up looking like after doing that last bit of stitching. I think it's pretty cute. I'm happy with it. Let me know if you've ever made your own book sleeve and how you did it and if it went better than this, or if I've inspired you to make your own. While I managed to mess it up a fair amount, it's not actually that hard. Just don't make the mistakes that I made. You just need a couple bits of fabric and you don't need the fusible fleece. I just wanted it to have a little bit more durability to it and offer a little bit more protection to my books. You could use something else to add padding, like the one I was copying from. It's definitely not a this way or nothing's gonna work situation. I'm sure there are many better ways you can do this. This is just how I did it, and I'm really happy with the end result. What a time for the camera to die. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe if you want to see more from me. I do post every single week and I have more fun crafty things planned throughout the rest of the year, and I hope to see you guys next time in a new video. Bye!